Welcome to episode 14, the first and only SaaS Talk Show featured on LinkedIn. This is a legal edition episode where I cover legal questions for SaaS founders and investors. If you're watching this episode for the first time, check out our other series on our LinkedIn company page. I will leave a link to SaaS Growth Ventures in the comments below. Today, we're going to cover three main topics. First, what are the differences between private equity and VC investments? 2, how VC investments compare to private equity investments? And lastly, what makes VC investment style so special? Without further ado, today I have a special guest, Angela Kuo. She's a consul at Haynes & Boone. Angela Kuo focuses her practice on corporate transactions, concentrating on VC and PE fund formation, and operations, startups, and venture capital financing, and lastly, merger and acquisitions. It's great to have you on the SaaS Talk Show, Angela.
You're welcome. I like your show. Great to be here.
Thank you. Angela, can you please introduce yourself and your firm, Haynes & Boone?
Sure. I was born in Beijing, grew up in Hong Kong. I have lived in the U.S. for more than 10 years in total. I am a committed VC lawyer in the Bay Area. Haynes & Boone is a AM 100 full-service law firm with 600 lawyers in 40 major legal practice areas. It is an international law firm with 17 offices worldwide.
Excellent. Thank you for such a detailed introduction, Angela. Before we dive in into my questions, I want to share with you how my SaaS Talk Show works. I'm going to ask you a question, and the goal is for you to answer the question in under 2 minutes. If you do so, I will award you with plenty of applauses just like this. Now, if it takes you a bit longer than 2 minutes to answer my question, you will hear a sound like this. Are you excited, Angela?
Yes, I am. It sounds like a lot of time pressure, but as lawyers, we get used to it. So let's try it.
Well, let's get started. My first question, VC is actually a private equity investment, a kind of like subsector of PE. So why do we usually talk about VC as separate from private equity?
So for the most common part, VC and PE are involved in private equity investment, which means they are investment in the privately held companies. However, VCs usually have different or very special features that's compared to PE fund. That's why we always separate VC from PE usually.
Great. So what is the special feature of VC investments as compared to private equity investments?
Well, these features including the type of investment, the type and size of the portfolio companies, and also the management style. So to be more specific, the investment will involve in higher risk because VCs usually invest in new ideas, new business model, and new markets, which nobody has really taken, took the risk before. So they have higher risk than the PE fund. And also VC funds, they usually focus on the minority interest as compared to PE funds, they always acquire the control of the company. So that means they need a special protection for VC investors in these transactions. Another feature is that the investment transaction documents are different, especially for the early stage companies investments. These include safes, convertible notes, common and preferred stock purchase agreement with very special VC terms. And another feature is that VC firms do not borrow money, and it holds the investment for longer term because they have to wait for the portfolio companies to grow.
Thank you for such a detailed answer. So my last question, 3, what is it so special about VC investment style?
So VCs usually invest in startup companies, which is a very early stage, but has